Hello and welcome to the Red Report, Barnsley FC's longest running podcast. Proud to be part of the TalkSport network of fans. One out of the door and two in Oakwell so far today. Obviously, Donovan Pine signed with us early on in this transfer window, but somebody else has left us today. All that and much, much more to come. But Ian, Steve, we need to talk about Exeter.
No, we don't.
Do we?
No, we really don't need to talk
No,
about
we
Exeter
don't.
at all.
Moving on.
It's a lovely place. I wouldn't want to live there, but I would visit. That's about it.
Steve,
What?
we're going to start with you.
Thanks.
As first halves go, I think that's one of the worst that I've seen in a long, long time. What were your thoughts? Let's put it that way.
Keep it clean.
And I'm going to
Keep it
tick
clean.
the box.
Bit of bullfit, Dads.
I'm going to tick the box that say there is swearing in the episode. So just
No, I'm not going to swear. I'm not. My swearing's done this season. I've got to be honest. It was dire, weren't it? I mean, we've had some bad games this season, but that first half, you look at position we're in league, and people are going to say, "Oh, we're fifth, and it's fantastic," and blah blah blah, and we might even go up, and this that, and other. Would you really think that team could play in Championship? It's frightening to think about it. I'd love for us to go up. I'd love to have a Wembley trip. I'd love to win at Wembley. But that team is... Some of them players are garbage. I'm sorry, but they are. They have one decent game. People rave about them and say, oh, they're fantastic. But every other week, they are shite. Literally.
And
we're off. I just don't get. I don't get it. There's players sat on bench. There's players not even on bench that are head and shoulders above some of them lads that's on that pitch. I'm sorry, but they are. He's sticking to the same players, and they're not performing. Why are they still there? They're not performing. I still struggle to see a style of play. I still struggle to see an identity. 1 minute we're tapping it at back like we think we're Man City, and then we're knocking 50, 60-yard balls out of play, out of touch, over strikers' heads. It's piss poor. I'm sorry, but it is. It's absolute garbage. Number 7's being done up. It's really nice. My lad said half time, they've done it up. You've not been in. Shall we go? So we did. And I had a better second half at number 7 than I ever did at Oakwell. So there you go. That says it all.
Ian, we mentioned last week about the injuries that, especially in the midfield, Phillips went off and Kane wasn't playing. Herbie Kane didn't play on Saturday. Phillips did come back. So, and obviously Connell didn't play either, well, not in the first half. So Russell sort of deputised. Are Kane and Connell so influential that if they don't play, this is what we get? Because we're not a two-man team, are we? Or was it just overall everybody was way, way, way below where they could be?
I think everybody was off, weren't they? Abject was probably the right word. Complete shambles. In answer to your question with Kane and Connell, we don't have the depth, do we? Let's face it, we don't have the depth of the squad. So Kane and Connell are key to us. It was no surprise that when Cotter and Connell came on, we looked better. I know you couldn't get much worse, but we looked better. We had more urgency. People wanted to take a man on. People wanted to think positively and forward and try and rescue what was an absolute shambles. So we are over-reliant on those players, and I fear that we'll probably run them into the ground this season because we can't. They have to play, so they're going to be first on the team sheet all the time. Like I agree with Steve. For me, the biggest thing for me was you looked at the two teams. We mentioned it on last week's podcast. I think we haven't lost since November. I'm not sure if it was Derby away. And Exeter had a goal difference of -18 and had scored barely a goal a game. And we're down bottom half, and yet you'd think that Exeter, the way they played, they were the team with our stats, and we were the team with Exeter's stats. But then in the second half, we had enough chances to win 2 or 3 football matches. Bit unlucky with it in the post and the bar, but we had enough chances in that second half to win 2 football matches and didn't take them.
It was weird, wasn't it? You just mentioned the bench. Yes, second half, Cotter and Connell made a difference. I agree. I mean, the level it was, Toby Ty could have come on and probably made a difference, but a positive difference. Cosgrove and Cotter came on immediately at the start of the second half, and Connell a little bit later. If you looked at the rest of that bench, Killip, fair enough. Aidan Marsh as another striking option. Aaron Atkinson, Casper Lopata, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. So strengthened up. I mean, not really. In certain positions, we're sort of. If you look at right wing back, if you play a different defence, you have Williams, you have O'Keefe, you have Cotter. You know, there are options there. But really, Aidan Marsh, and I'm not being detrimental about Aidan Marsh, is that just a bench filler because of injuries? Because let's face it, is he really behind Watters? Because Watters started, obviously. He was supposed to get the full 90, but got 45, didn't he, or whatever he did. So, is that just a bench filler? Are we that thin? Is it injuries, or is it something new that he tried? It just seemed. I thought it was really dangerous because the impotence, you shouldn't need a rollicking at halftime, should you? To start playing and taking a man on. Yeah, it was the 2 substitutions that sort of sparked that.
But how many times this season have we had exactly the same? It's been a shocking first half, and yet whatever's gone off in second half, they've come out and they've been slightly better. It's becoming norm.
I could name Peterborough, Portsmouth, Oxford at home, Carlisle at home, just off the top of my head, without even having a proper look at the fixtures, where we've been started games at home horrendously, or played bad all game. I mean, I think it was only Carlisle we got anything out of.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose. You could talk about the goal. We don't really need to. After that match, then you're in the last few days of a transfer period. I thought, well, surely then they need to look under at some sort of like, when I say attractive, forward-thinking midfielder that can play a pass, that can open space, that's not afraid to take a man on. Because no disrespect to Connell, but you know he was off for quite some time. Then he was ill. Looks like he's back for Bolton, but if he's not, Russell is a completely different type of player. Russell gets a sound of applause when he sticks a leg out and the ball sticks to it and he's tackled or he's won the ball off a player. He don't go past one or two or plays a pass in. Steve, are you hoping for somebody to come in that position as a backup, like a valid backup that can still make things happen? Is it just another Thursday? Do you think business is done? Where are we? Because I find it really confusing about all these defenders we've brought in, and I actually thought we had a decent defender set on the bench, but he's now joined Port Vale.
It's same old, isn't it? It's like this every transfer window. It gets to last 4 hours, 5 hours, and you can sit doing pod, you can sit in a boozer, you can sit chatting to your mates, and it's the same conversation. We might have made 1 or 2 signings. To me, in January transfer window, you've already got your squad. You already know what supposedly is your best 11, and you should be looking to improve it. You shouldn't be looking to bring in more academy players that you're going to bring through eventually. You shouldn't really be looking at loans unless it is going to improve a squad and it is going to be better than what we've already got. You could sign Ronaldo this window, but if he ain't going to get ball and he ain't going to get any service from midfield, it don't make no difference. Makes no difference whatsoever. Russell, I feel sorry for. His morale must be rock bottom. But why is he still anywhere near squad? He needs 2 or 3 weeks away from squad. If anybody could have done with going out on loan, it's him, and try and get some football at a lower level, because as it stands now, he's not good enough. Nowhere near good enough. You've got likes of Phillips. Again, I know I go on about Phillips. Stealing a wage. What's he doing? What's he bringing to the squad? Absolutely nothing. Yes, we miss Kane. Yes, we certainly miss Connell. But after that, who are you bringing in? Benson, injured, can't be arsed, not bothered. Styles, God, I hope he's gone and you never see him again. You talk about bench fillers. Beginning of the season, we had Theo Chapman, we had Nyman, we had 2 or 3 at younger lads, Younger Nathan, hungry to play, wanting to play for shirt, ran the blood to water. They're not even getting on bench. You can't tell me what we've got in team at minute is better than them young'uns. I'd rather see some endeavour, some positivity, but there's nothing. It's flat, it's dead. They want crowd to get up on your feet. You know, shall we have a standing zone? At minute, we could do a lying down zone. I don't know about hotels. It's absolute garbage. And anybody who says, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," no, I probably don't know what I'm talking about. But I've paid my money, same as a lot of people have paid a lot of money out for some people, and we're watching shit week after week. Whether we're 5th, top, or whatever, makes no difference. Because I tell you now, we go up. I need to be lucky if we do. Team we've got, it cost us a fortune in summer to get them anywhere near championship standard.
I look at, we seem to be picking up loads of players who are much of a muchness, and we've stacked with defenders and stacked with strikers. And yet I look at Bolton have gone and signed the Aaron Collins, is it, from Bristol Rovers? Rumours are that it's about 750 grand. And he was player of the season in League One last season, and he gets loads of assists. That's a type of player who can win you a game or fight. You know, we talk week after week. We haven't got any creativity, really, have we? Like Steve tweeted today, you can have all the strikers you want, but if they don't get any service, and can we not afford 750 grand or something like that? Can we not afford? So a rival in this division has gone and signed a top player off another League One club, and we're still sniffing around in League Two and non-league, aren't we, with some of the recent signings? And I just think trying to get basement bargains all the time. I mean, Josh Earl, I think we'll move on to him, I know, and he's probably not a bad signing, but we're not talking about spending millions here, are we? We're talking about, and you think about the money that's come in at the summer. Surely that's the type of player we should be going for, who's going to make a difference.
You've just hit the nail on the head, haven't you? Because a year ago or whatever, you could have said, "Where's the money coming from? They can't just inject." We had a fire sale. Don't get me wrong, we got decent money for some of these players, but I would argue that Kitchen, Anderson, and Collins, $500,000 from the manager leaving as well. I know players have been brought in, lots of free agents or from the lower league, so you're not talking about big transfer fees. I know they're improving, and it's about the squad and the contracts. I get all that, but there must be 5-6 million that came in. Surely you put a decent pot to the side, knowing spectamo agenda, judges on our actions. This tells me, and I mean, don't get me wrong, we're at 6:15 on Thursday, so there's a few hours to go yet, but to me, that's not backing your manager.
No,
that's not backing your head coach. You're saying you're in 5th. We don't need to. We need to look forward. We play Bolton. You could potentially close that gap to 2 points or whatever with a game in hand over them. You talk about Josh Earl coming in. It's fantastic. Let's talk first about Iseka leaving. So he's off the wage bill because apparently he was one of the bigger wage earners. You know, fantastic. I would dare say with people that we still get at the club, Marsh, Dallas obviously gone out on loan. Ollie Shaw is gone somewhere else. Watters. Should we not look up front as well? Because Cole and McAtee are doing good things. Jallo is the saviour and he's in around, but then he's playing for the under-21s again and you know, for the Portuguese youth side, which is fantastic for him. it just all seemed to be, we have a couple of periods where he comes on and everything, because that's what he needs, isn't it? He needs to come on with 20, 25 minutes to go and get used to man's football on a Saturday, playing against seasoned pros. Nowhere to be seen. But we've got Watters, who I thought, well, this is your chance, isn't it? It's at home. This is your chance. And I was fuming. Steve said he did a lot of running. You know, the chasing down when the goalkeeper's got the ball. But in fairness, I could teach my dog to do that. You can, can't you? Go. Steve, you've got 2 lovely dogs. You've got a little and all of you. We could... I wonder about the mindset in that camp with some players. When you put a performance in like you do, And then to the biggest, well, not surprise, because it was bubbling for the last couple of days, Kasper Lopata, who I tipped for Player of the Year, by the way, and judging on the early season, I thought I was in with a decent shout. He's left today on a loan to Port Vale, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah.
Now, I've just seen, and it's all rumours because you'll never know, because he's not playing, he's sort of thrown his steady out of the cot a little bit. I'll be honest, I get it. I know he still had things to learn, but he was hungry. And he might, cause a foul or whatever. But we've been playing with our captain in the back three, which everybody knows is not for anybody's benefit. Lopata leaving. Ian, what's your reaction? Because I'm just flabbergasted.
I don't get it, to be honest. I know he's not been picking him since he's come back from injury. We thought before he got injured, we all thought he was signs of a cracking defender, prepared to put himself about, looked captain material. I think of all the defenders we've got, he wouldn't be on my list to go out. I can only think, is Collins thinking Pines? He's quite close to starting. He's got Josh Earl and DeGivene. Is that going to be his 3? So somebody's going to miss out, but I wouldn't have had Lopata as the one missing out. I might have said Shepherd. I mean, I'm not sure if there's rumours Shepherd might go Donny on loan. I don't know. A few could go out on loan and get some football, but not Lopata. I thought I would have had him down as a first teamer. Okay, we just signed 2 defenders in this window, but even so, I don't get that one for me.
No, Steve. Not an area we thought we needed strengthening. We know Shepherd will make a mistake. I mean, there's a huge gap in leagues that he climbed up, but you look, and I just think you need to just keep playing him regularly if those are the 3 that you're playing, and he'll get there. But Lopata leaving, Steve. I mean, I know Pines has come in, but
I don't get it. I'm all for giving managers chances. But it's getting to the stage now where it's end of January. No style, no identity, and some of his decision making is beyond belief, to be quite honest. Like you said, Lopata, first bit of season before he got injured, would have been first, second name on team sheet without a shadow of a doubt. By far a better centre half than Jordan Williams will ever be. I don't care what anybody says, by far. He puts his head where nobody else dare. And for me, him and DeGivene would have been your mainstay at back with another, whatever. This Josh Earl, I know he's left-hand side, left-footed. Maybe that's his thinking. But I would have thought he's more a left wing back cover. I hope McCart's gone back to Rotherham, to be quite honest. Because he's not pulled any trees up. Shepherd, yeah, he's got a mistake in him, but he's going to be a decent player. So yeah, let's get him out on loan. I ain't got a problem with that. I just don't get his thinking. This last month to a couple of months, Lopata could have played. Put Williams back in his supposedly right position at right wing back, and you would have had a solid back 3. Yet he's persevering with Williams, not only in a position that he's crap at, but as captain. And I'm sorry, where's captaincy? I don't see any captaincy whatsoever, nothing on that field.
Well, interim director of football Bobby Hassel said this about Casper Lopeta going out alone. Casper started the season in brilliant form and integrated smoothly into the squad. He was unfortunate to pick up the injury against Cheltenham, but worked hard during his rehabilitation and got himself back in contention with a professional attitude. This is where his minutes have been limited since his return due to the depth we have in defensive positions. Well, before January, before Pines came in and Earl came in, we've been playing a right wing back. For his development, we felt it was optimal for Casper to go out and play competitive minutes and return to Oakwell in the summer. We wish Casper the best of luck for the rest of the season.
So that's him not coming back then, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Ian, it's strength in depth they talk about. But he was never really used, was he? I mean, early in the season, he never really came off the bench just to see, when you are winning Well,
you talk of strength and depth, and when you say that, what you like to think is that you've got choices on the bench that will come on and change a game and for the better. Now, we had that on Saturday with Cotter, Cosgrove and Connell, but normally Connell would start. But and Lopeta should be playing. But generally, if you look at all the centre halves we've got, or a lot of the strikers, and you say we've got depth, but they wouldn't change it. Like say you've got Waters, who's done nothing. Dallas and Shaw are not even at the club at the minute. You've got your strength and depth has got to be that you've got people on the bench who can change a game, and we haven't. We've got. If you call it depth, we've got numbers. We've got a lot of defenders and a lot of strikers, but no, too many of them, and not as good as the ones that are starting. So how can you say it's strength and depth?
Is this down to Collins though? Because let's face it, a lot of times it's always a like for like substitution. It's as though he hasn't got another system. He hasn't got another formation. It's always. I suppose biggest change he makes is he drops McAtee back into midfield and puts another striker up. But other than that, I can't say I've seen him change anything. Even like going to a back four to change a game or whatever. It's
and like you said, the football has been pretty dire most of the season. It's not been entertaining at all. And I know you've got to balance that with results, and it's a results business. And I think to a degree we've kind of put up with it because you say, well, we're in the hunt for the playoffs and it's not like we're mid-table and stuff. But football is an entertainment business as well. And you work all week and you want to be, you want to watch the match and hope to see a bit of decent football. And it's been dreadful this season. How we've got the points we've got, I'll never know. And that is that coming from the manager? Surely it is.
So also brought in today then is Joshua Earl, 6'4" defender. And I don't want to go all negative, but I tell you what worried me a little bit. Steve, you like this. Started his professional career at Preston. In 5 seasons at Preston, he played 67 times. Now, when you work that out per season, that's not that much. So he was sent out on loan, first to Lancaster City in 2017, 2018. He played 6 matches. 2019 to 2020, he went on loan to Bolton. He played 9 matches. 2020 to 2021 to Ipswich, he played 7 matches. 21 to 22, he was on loan at Burton Albion. He played 8 matches. And then since signing for Fleetwood in 22, he's played 54 matches. So obviously at Fleetwood, he found. My worry is, and I'm not judging anybody, he's not kicked a ball yet. He's been to loads of places where clearly it hasn't worked out. Now, I know he's played a lot of matches in the Championship, and the club made a big thing of that. It's not overwhelming, isn't it? We're not like, oh, what a signing. Because when I read that, I think 67 appearances in 5 seasons. I mean, that's not a regular starter, is it? That's not somebody who's...
It's a filler in. It's a filler in, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And like you say, you can't judge until he's kicked a ball.
Well, exactly.
I mean,
he might
turn out to be next Roberto Carlos. How fantastic would that be?
Yeah.
But you look at it on paper from initial signing, is he going to improve what we've already got? And you've got to be honest and say, well, he's probably on a par with what we've got. You won't say he's gonna be right. He's straight into the first team because he's a lot better than Cadden. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that going to happen? I don't think so.
Yeah. No, I spoke to a lad at work who's a Preston fan, and he said he was all right, but he never really nailed that spot down. And like you say, 5 years, it's obvious with the appearances. He said he's probably better at the left side of a 3. He would suit it, but he's not. He said he's not really that left wing back, not really like a left back in his opinion, which is what Collins has said he's going to be. So I can only go off what he said, and he saw him at Preston. But yeah, he's filling a position that we're short in. But he's probably on a par with somebody like Cadden, I would have thought, by the sounds of it. So he's not, again, is it going to improve the side? I don't know. Yes, it's right. We were short there. We needed to fill it. But proof will be in the pudding, won't it, if he plays. He presumably he'll play on Saturday.
My worry would be that if you play him instead of Cadden, if you were to playing in the back 3, then at one point we're going to change 2 of the 3 at the back because Pines will be starting. And then if he starts,
unless you push Cadden up as a left winger where he's better at rather than defending,
yeah.
Do you do that and then push Williams as the right side and they become wingers because I think they are better offensively than they are defensively.
Yeah. And all this comes in sort of like it's the final, well, a few hours. It's 6:30. With Ian, a big match on Saturday, and it's funny, isn't it, how transfer period, especially the last day, everybody's glued to the TV and seeing what's happening. Proverbial 6-pointer again, isn't it, for the Reds? Away at Bolton. They've got a game in hand, but you look at where they are, and they are very much enjoying life in League One. But following the performance on Saturday, how do you even look forward to one of those? Is it our away form has been absolutely fantastic, so we should be all right, or is there some dread? I mean, the Lions second at the moment, they're 3 points behind Portsmouth, but over Portsmouth, they've also got 3 games in hand. And at this moment in time, we're 5th and we're 5 points behind Bolton. So there's still a lot to play for. How do you approach a game like
that? Partly I'm dreading it because they are strong at home. And like you say, they are doing well. I hope that it's away from Oakwell where we play better. I'm hopeful that because we're playing a better side, we'll play better. And we played them 3 times last season and come out quite well out of all of it, and I'm just hoping we kind of match them. Their weakness they like to play out from the back, and where teams have profited is where they've really rushed and pressurised the centre half who's on the ball and force them into errors. I just hope we don't sit back and let them play. So I am a bit fearful. Now they've got this Aaron Collins, he'll probably go straight in the side. Dion Charles up front is a handful. I take a point now. It's how we play. Can we kick on from Exeter, or do we play at that level again? Because if we do, we'll get mullered.
It looks like Connell is fit to come back. He did the press conference today, which is a huge boost for Barnsley. Still the dilemma, though, isn't it, Steve? You talked a little while ago about sort of dead wood, and I think people within the club that are probably better than the ones that get chosen. If you want to go and not make an impression, because it's not about making an impression, but get a result at Bolton on Saturday, given the fact that Pines is now in and Josh Earl is in, Styles looks like he is on his way out. Sunderland's interest apparently being renewed, so he could well be on his way, but let's face it, he wouldn't take part anyway. Lopata is no longer an option. I know you want Exeter to play. He's gone. He now plays in Crete.
No, you're joking. I'm gutted.
I know.
Absolutely gutted.
I know. I bet the accountant's happy though, and the bank manager at Barnsley.
Well, you can get a pint for under 8 seconds now, so that's where all your bleeding transfer money's gone.
Who do you see? Sort of like defence and midfield, because I know up front we'll talk about McAteen a little bit, but who starts? Because
do you know what? I ain't got a
make too many changes.
Flipping clue. I have no idea. I have no idea. You look at Exeter that first half, and apart from De Givney, I won't even bother with any on him. I really won't. William O'Keefe, God, why do people think O'Keefe's a good player? He isn't. He's garbage. Cotter's not much better, but at least Cotter's got a bit of pace about him. Is Pines going to play? Christ knows. Is it a good game to put him in as his first game? Probably not.
No.
Earl,
baptism of fire for him, wasn't it?
Well, you know what? If you want to crucify somebody on first game, like we did with Anderson and De Givney, let's face it, put Pines in on Saturday. He'll be back in America before second flight on Sunday. I'll tell you that. You'd think Cadden's going to play. If Earl's coming straight into the team, you'd think Earl would probably play that left-hand side of defence. De Givney's first name on sheet, along with Roberts, and rightly so, because at minute is only one that's coming out at that first 11 or first 15 with any sort of credit, because that guy is holding it together, to be quite honest. Your right centre half, your right centre half's going to be the same one it's been all season, and I just don't understand why. I don't know whether he's got somewhat over on Collins or what, Christ knows. But it'll be Williams, and you know that for a fact, and he'll be captain. And your right wing back, personally, I'd give Cotter a start. But they're all much of a muchness. There's no improvement there, not at all. Williams has not improved, give him captaincy, and you thought it might have done at the start of the season. If anything, he's taking a step back. He won't go any further back. It's soul destroying. I absolutely hate being negative all the time, but I cannot find a positive out of that back five apart from De Givney. I can't find a positive at all.
No, it's difficult, isn't it? Because we keep coming back to these performances, and I know we're fifth in the table, and that's what keeps you going, isn't it? When you look at the table, but you have to worry that if others have took this transfer period a bit more, I dare even say seriously, Ian, and they have improved on what they had, then there is a real danger that in the next 2-3 weeks you could find yourself ebbing away from that automatic playoff picture and even out of the top 10.
Well, it's a good job Liam Roberts is definitely staying to the end of the season as well, isn't it? Because one-on-ones he's great at, and we've said it a few times. If it hadn't been for some of his saves and Cole's goals, where would we be this season? Like I say, the team is not strong. There's a couple of individuals who are having good seasons. The rest of them are scoring 4s and 5s out of 10 every week. Had the others really strengthened? I know some have bought, but or loaned, but Derby have been picking points up. They've started coming with a run, and you've got Portsmouth and Bolton and Peterborough, the usual sort of suspects. Stevenage are dropping off a little bit. Oxford are a bit in and out, but generally, I can see 4 or 5 strong teams there that I don't think we're going to finish above.
Steve, I've just seen sometimes you go on X or Twitter, and it's just dishwater in it. Somebody put, genuine question, has Neil Collins improved any players? Where's the coaching? Shepherd and Lapata have all raw attributes. Concerning that, a former centre-back can't improve them.
Can't argue with that.
It's a decent point to make, isn't it?
And you've got, let's face it, you've got Collins. You've got Collins who was centre half. You've got John Stead who were a striker. And let's face it, I can't remember last time we had a proper striker, and he was a decent striker, a proper striker in coaching team. You've got Devaney, who's supposed to be that bridge
and also
between players and coaching staff. And I've said it before, said it for shows before. To me, he's not done his job. And I just don't see any I can't see any improvement in any players. You tell me, what do you think? I mean, Roberts is not even our player. And, God, I'd love to see him sign at end of season, but it's going to be another situation where we ain't going to go up, or chances are very limited. Somebody else is going to come in and snap him up.
It's
and what we got behind him, Killip. Not a great deal to look for. Hey, do you know what?
Well,
I'm just going to shoot myself now.
I tell you what the winning
3-0 away win coming up now on Saturday.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. But I think I tell you what I worry about at the moment, and it's not climate change or Brexit or immigration. It's the fact that besides Cole, who has scored a shed load of goals, my favourite 2 players at the moment that I think you can just rely on or give the role are the 2 lone players, which is Roberts and McAtee. McAtee will run his heart. I know people say a lot of running, but he scored some worldies. And isn't that the type of player we should be aiming for? Isn't that what look at the job they're both doing? I mean, Roberts has saved. I know he had an iffy match not long ago, but he's allowed one after the saves that he made. McAtee got a chance and he's shone. He's sort of deputised in that number 10 role almost, hasn't he? Whilst we've been short in the midfield. And they say don't fall in love with your lone players, but it's this whole thing again of there is no long-term strategy. Because when they came on board, these people, it was, they were going to get us to the Premier League in 5 years, didn't they? 4 or 5 years or whatever. We've not really moved, have we? We're still yo-yoing. And to me, we're yo-yoing because we never really make any long-term investments. And the best opportunity we had to me was this summer with all the money that came in. Yes, we lost at Wembley. Gutted. Tears. You sell a boatload of players for a lot more than we got them for. Isn't that the perfect opportunity to strategically get a new spine together? And no disrespect to Cotter or O'Keefe or Shepherd, but they're always gambles that they'll do okay. They're always gambles that together will make it to the Championship. But I agree with what Steve said earlier. If we were to go up to the Championship now,
embarrassing.
Squad overall, innit? Wouldn't be. You look at, and I hate saying it, but look at what Wednesday are doing in the Championship at the moment. I mean, they took 3 months to get started. It would be that scenario, wouldn't it? So just to finish off on, sorry, go on to Ian.
No, I just think you think of that money, and I know they don't all get that money comes in drips in over a few years, but surely you could have said we can put 1.5 million to one side for players, or 2 million, and the rest goes to plug the gap, the black hole from relegation and COVID and stuff. They barely put a bean, haven't they, really? Because it's all free transfers, and I think Pines was free, wasn't he? And I don't know what is Josh Earl free or not? I'm not sure what the fee, but we've not gone out and said, well, we made 7-8 million or something in summer. We can put 2 aside and get a quality centre forward, or we can get 2 or 3 good quality players and bring some of them up and comings in. But they don't seem to really spend any of that money, have they?
Yeah, they spent it on you can get a pint in 8 seconds. There's 3 propane tanks around the pitch that they set fire to every time we score a goal, which doesn't
the new advertising boards that block everyone's view.
Yeah.
Before I come to the score forecast, somebody just tweeted 5 hours left, possibly 1 or 2 loans in, possibly 1 permanent. Styles, Sunderland almost ready to announce. The question is, where is the money that we got from the last few windows being spent? But at least the West End will look pretty soon, because obviously with the long-term lease from the council and blah, blah, blah. Bolton versus Barnsley. Let's hope it's more positive than this episode has been.
Is anybody still listening?
No, they went ages since. There's only us 3. Same old story, isn't it?
Ian.
1-1, if we're lucky. And I'll go McAtee.
Right. Steve.
2-0. And we'll be lucky to get note. And I'm going to go with that new signing, that Collins, because it's them sort of players that we should have been looking at all season, ready for this transfer window to be strengthening. I don't think if that team turns out like they did against Exeter, we'll be 5-0 down at half time. So no, I'm going to 2-0 Bolton.
I worry.
Don't say 3-1.
No, don't say 3-1 and don't say Cole, because that's bollock.
I worry about.
You worry about a lot of things on this show, don't you, mate? It's a really negative show. What we ought to have across bottom is Samaritan's number going across. Is what we really need.
When I was there on Saturday and I saw that, I just thought, as a manager, as a manager, you want more, don't you? And he actually said that he needed to look at was selection or whatever else. I think we're going to get punished. So I say 3-1 to Bolton and Cole with our consolation goal. I think that it's the only way I can.
I like what you did there.
I think we've been found out a little. I think people know how to get at us, and I mean, there's probably better times to play Bolton than after a performance like that, a loss against Exeter, and a transfer window that, let's face it, is not making any Red fans, hoping it was the next home game to see these new signings. But the proof is in the pudding. Barnsley away at Bolton on Saturday at 3:00. We'll be back next week. I promise.
Will we?
Promise,
Are you sure? Are you sure we're coming back next week? It might not be here next week.
Next week, we'll talk about the demolition of Bolton in that 5-0 away victory. Jonathan Pines with his first
drinking
goal.
again. He was sniffing glue.
Liam Roberts with 2 assists. Yeah, we can dream, can't we?
Coming out of retirement and signing, living down Kendry. Yeah, I'm sure he will.
As always, Steve, Ian, thanks very much for joining us. Go and get a drink, lads. Watch some telly. EastEnders is good normally this time on a Thursday. We'll be back next week. And interact with us. Send us a tweet. Tell us what you think.
Don't. I'll get enough slagging off as it is. Don't bother sending a tweet at all.
You've been listening to... Sorry, go on.
Don't keep refreshing Twitter because there's nothing much going on. Halesey's going.
Watch that woman climbing through window. That's best thing on Twitter today. That woman climbing through window, and she gets it, and she's hanging. Everything's hanging out, and her mate's absolutely pissing us in outside. Best thing you'll see on Twitter that today.
I'll promise next week Steve will have another TikTok of the day. You've been listening to the Reds Report. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.